When did you first have the notion to write a book in the first place?
Have you ever had an idea planted in your brain by someone and then it just grows? So my mom did that. We were driving one day and she said, your newsletter is so good. Like, you should put it all together in one place. I just said that she was mad.
Knowing in your mind that you're definitely going to get rejected and you're going to get asked some very difficult questions was quite brave.
The most notable one that I got a rejection from was Stanley Tucci's wife.
What did that lovely lady say?
Basically, we're not interested in your project.
What advice would you give to any chef authors out there who are looking to get into the publishing game and really publish their amazing books?
I would say...
Hello, my friends, and a very warm welcome back to another episode of the Chef JKP podcast. Season 11 has been on an absolute roller coaster of brilliant conversations, and today is no different. But before we begin, can I just ask you, how are you doing? How have you been? What's been happening in your kitchens, restaurants, your lives? Have you been pushing boundaries? So, whatever you've been doing, drop it on the comment section because I'd love to get to know you. Before we begin, if you want to support the show, which I know you do, then please click that all important subscribe button on YouTube or simply click follow wherever you get your podcasts, as it truly helps us to grow the show and we can keep providing the most amazing content because, by the way, I love to do it and I want you to love it. That's the only ever thing I'm going to ask of you. Begin. Have you ever thought about becoming an author? I have. I've always wondered about how do you even get to write a book or get into the industry? How do you even start? Well, we're about to find out. Today's guest brings a unique perspective that expands beyond just the plate. Joan Tuaño Rumsey is an author and educator whose work weaves together food, culture, and education in powerful ways. Joan's voice reminds us that gastronomy isn't just about what we eat. It's about how we connect, how we learn, and how we pass knowledge from one generation to the next. I have to say, you will see, Joan is larger than life. She's also extremely determined. And that's how her book project came about. As you can see, it's called Steak Simplified. It's a super cool book. It mixes stories, family heritage. It's actually a guide for people who want to know more about meat, but predominantly beef, as her family have a beautiful butcher shop in Abu Dhabi and in the Philippines. So, listen out for a story about Stanley Tucci's wife. Time to rock and roll.
Hey, lovely people. Joan Tuaño Rumsey, author of Steak Simplified here. If you like the podcast, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe because this is a podcast worth actually listening to.
Joan, a very warm welcome to the show. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here. Now, as is customary, can you tell me your first or favorite childhood food memory, please?
So my first childhood food memory, I would say it's not a cooked food. It was actually riding in a truck with my dad, delivering water, wild boar, or baboy damo in my language, and Selecta ice cream. So he would drag me wherever he could at a young age to clients. I had no idea where I was going, but I still remember the smell of wild boar, like in newspaper, when it's really cold and you have to wrap it, because they used to hunt it in Mindanao and then ship it to Manila. And you have to keep it really tightly wrapped in newspaper to keep it fresh. And he would deliver it to these hotels and restaurants.
So for people who are not familiar with Philippine cuisine, can you tell me the types of food you would have as a family?
So my mom would always make some sort of stew that is kind of water-based. So sinigang is the main one where you start immediately with tomatoes and onions, and then you build that up with a sour agent like radish, tamarind, and then you add your own protein, some vegetables, and it's kind of like throw it all in a pot kind of vibe. And another one that I have in my book, actually, it's called nilaga, which literally means to braise or to like boil. And it's funny that it just means a verb, but when you say that to a Filipino, they already know that it's gonna taste a certain way. And it's literally onions. You could add some ginger. I put ginger in mine, and then you just boil any beef, protein, pork sometimes, and always season with patis, which is fish sauce, and lemon. That's something that's so strong in my mind. However, you have the notable commercial dishes like adobo, and which has a million versions, by the way. And it's like ragu in Italy, you know.
Right,
There's
yeah.
adobo white, there's adobo with coconut milk, there's regular adobo, and there's also the epic dishes like kare kare, which is one of my favorites, which I think is more iconic because there's nothing like it.
Tell me about it if people don't know exactly what it is.
So we start with annatto seeds. That's the English one, right? Yeah. So we use this seed that is naturally colors oil into orange, or anything that it touches in orange, similar to turmeric, turning things yellow. That turns it really bright orange. And then you use some tomatoes, but it's notably remembered for its peanut base. And usually you would do oxtail or anything that is a slow cook cut of meat. I actually decided to make an express kare kare. I saw it once, I think, in a New York restaurant reel on Instagram, and I thought that's genius. Literally, just make the kare kare fixins or sides that you would have, like the vegetables, the sauce, and then you sear a steak, and then you don't have to cook for 3
nice.
hours. So that is the kare kare for me in my book. But I also give the option with short ribs this time because I think short ribs has more meat, and
Everybody loves short ribs, though.
ribs are the best. And now with an Instant Pot or any of these slow cookers, you can cook, pressure cookers, you can cook it way faster.
So then tell me, during your so you grew up, first of all, in the Philippines, right?
So I actually moved to Abu Dhabi when I was 5.
Okay.
I was born in the Philippines in Quezon City, one of the most densely populated cities ever. My husband actually got dragged there maybe a week and a half ago by my dad to celebrate him resigning. And he got dragged to Quezon City, said he had never seen so many people. It's like there's a Quezon City circle, like a roundabout there that's like 6 lanes. So imagine Sheikh Zayed Road, but a roundabout. And it's not UAE, so imagine a Filipino version where there's jeepneys, there's buses. Jeepneys, by the way, are the name for our public transport of World War II jeeps that have been converted into some sort of longer jeep that you can ride, and it's totally open. So imagine that kind of vehicle with buses and maybe some tricycles at the edge, like a tuk-tuk, and cars. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Quezon City, I was born there. And when I was 5, we moved here in search of greener pastures back in 97.
So then what was the sort of food landscape back then, Abu Dhabi, in 1997 onwards?
Ooh, good question. Back in 97, shawarmas were 1 dirham 50. Now they're what? Well, it depends where you buy.
Depends where you go.
If it's Alo Beirut, maybe it's 6 dirhams for a shawarma, small shawarma. But back then, 150 was a girthy guy.
Right.
You know, good garlic level. And my brother lives in Amsterdam, and he when he tries a shawarma there, he's like, it's Dutchified. It's like not. The garlic level is not Abu Dhabi level. So shawarma, Levant cuisine was very much part of childhood growing up. Falafels, hummus.
Right.
Got tabbouleh. I got into trouble for tabbouleh actually on one Instagram reel. I'll show it to you maybe.
So, and when you were growing up as a kid, I want to understand how the cultures were mixing, when you were sort of from the age of, let's say, 12 to 18, was it as multicultural then as it is now?
Food scene, I don't believe so. I believe it was very strongly Levant everywhere. Everyone would just go for shawarma. On a weekend, you would just order a big bag, a plastic bag of like 20 shawarmas, and we just eat it all together because it was cheap and cheerful.
Right.
And we loved going to the shawarma shop at 5 p.m. and then the guy's like slicing and it's so juicy and
it's a show, right? It's a type of show.
It's a show, and then they started adding Mexican sauce, so and they add hot sauce to the garlic, the toom, and then what else? They started the lamb with the veggie salad, the oniony, parsley. I don't know the chef's term for it. Sorry, salsa on top. That was just like what we ate. And then people weren't much of the foodie term, the term foodie, sorry, it wasn't really popular back then. It was just me kind of getting all nerdy with like, when I would come home, what would happen is I would, I think it was eVision at the time, our Apple TV back then. And I remember flicking, and the TV show that I loved was Ready, Steady, Cook. I don't know if you're familiar.
I'm very familiar with it.
With Ainsley Harriott. Let's get cooking. And especially the last part when you like have to cook something in like, 10 minutes or something. That was really fun. So I would watch that after school. And then sometimes I would catch Rick Stein's cooking show or Nigella's. And then I started getting really like, ooh, like food is like so much more fun. Like if you cook it like a cook.
Right.
Because I think that was the beginning of the cook scene. Like Jamie Oliver was coming up where you don't have to cut your carrots into squares. And Nigella would like cut bacon with like scissors. So I was like, oh, I could cook. It's fine.
No, but that was an amazing era. Ready, Steady, Cook was one of those sort of programs where you had, for those people who don't know it, 3 chefs up against the clock, competition, and then whoever would win at the end, then of course they'd have the challenge. But it was a really cool way to introduce people into how to cook, not professionally, but with everyday items, let's say, right? So at that time, was your family already into catering, or was it just you?
They were not. My dad worked in Qatar Airways. His background is in airlines. He was an accountant. Both my parents are CPAs. And they met in an auditing firm in the Philippines.
As you do.
So they ventured into auditing after getting their CPA certification or qualification. And my mom went into a bank here in the UAE. Back then, it was the only bank owned by Dubai and Abu Dhabi, Union National Bank. And my dad was deep into Qatar Airways. So he started as an accountant and then worked himself up to district sales manager. Back when they only had 3 planes.
Wow.
So it was like the first time they had ventured out of Qatar and really, starting. However, my dad, we wouldn't see my dad. He was always busy. I would always be bothering him and saying, Dad, when are you coming home? And he was also finding his calling to business in the Philippine community. He saw that there were a lot of employees that are Filipino, but not that many Filipino-owned businesses. And he wanted to kind of spearhead that. He thought, we're way more than, in the Philippines, we're called OFWs, Overseas Filipino Workers. And he thought, why can't we be OFIs, Overseas Filipino Investors? Why can't we own the businesses? And so he saw that there was something called business councils. There's like, I believe there's the American one. There's the Canadian Business Council, the Swiss. And he thought, how come there's no Philippine Business Council? So he looked into it, and then he decided, well, if I'm going to spearhead a business council, I should own my own business.
Right.
So that's when he quit, and then he started our family enterprise, Asia Gulf Trading, back in 2004, sorry.
Okay. And so what was he trading at the time? What was the first few things he was doing?
The first things he was doing was, well, he did real estate for MegaWorld. It's a huge corporation in the Philippines. And so one of his first campaigns was San ka uuwi, which means where are you going home to? Because a lot of Filipinos here work forever, and then they come home and they have nowhere to live.
Right.
Their family expects them to host them forever.
Yes.
Or thinks they earn so much, and they can use them as a bank. Now there's financial literacy courses by the embassies and stuff like that, which is amazing. But one of his first campaigns was that, and so that's why we have a place to live now, or they have a place to live that's fully paid. So that was one of their wonderful achievements, I think, giving people a place to call home.
Yeah, 100%.
It's really important, right? People sometimes don't think about that.
But then how did the journey of food come into the family?
So the journey came when, my dad had the Asia Gulf Trading license since 2004, and we decided, he got asked by one of his business contacts, Bjorn Osby. He actually is part of a line investment of the Lulu Group. And he actually creates the designs for many of the hypermarkets. He's from Norway, and he's been a close family friend. And he once asked my dad, would you like to open a fish stall, in the fish market in Mushrif Mall? And we can give you the cafeteria as well upstairs to feed the staff of the fish market. It's going to be 1,000 staff every day. It's a huge fish market. And also he was offered a meat stall. So it was a project by the Crown Prince, Mushrif Mall, and the market was one of the first amazing, setups where you can't smell anything when you go into the market, even though, there's fresh carcasses being cut, fish fresh from the markets, incredible sanitation level. And my dad said, oh, okay, I'll open all three.
And he had no experience.
No experience.
It's a big gamble, no?
A big gamble.
On his behalf?
Yeah. And so we were bringing in fresh tuna from General Santos City, Gensan. Do you know Pacquiao?
Yeah.
So it would be like same day caught tuna, sashimi grade. We would cut it fresh. But, my dad had no marketing. He had no online brand presence. Instagram wasn't a thing.
Sure.
And then the fish market cafeteria didn't really blossom because they weren't really getting breaks, and then a lot of factors led to the cafeteria not working out. So then that turned into a commissary to do ready-to-eat meals for Lulu supermarkets. So we had a brand called La Comida. So my dad loves using Spanish words because it's very easy to understand wherever you are. Carne, comida. So our fish stall was Del Mar Seafood. So what I was doing during that time was I was still in university. And I remember finishing uni and I had to go for my last internship in St. Thomas. I remember visiting once the fish market and seeing the tuna, and I said, wow, Dad, that's insane. They were taking a large cut, though, the Fishermen Society, because it's managed by the Fishermen Society of Abu Dhabi. the fish market, the Mina Cooperative Society. And so I remember just seeing that, and then I went off to do my thing in St. Thomas with the Ritz-Carlton on my last internship. And because I would always come home to see how my parents were on my
But those
breaks.
internships were in kitchens.
So the first internship, the first internship I found, it was very hard to find internships, by the way, back then, was with Shangri-La in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Which I actually forced my way into getting that internship. So yeah, I did a F&B internship in Shangri-La, Abu Dhabi, where I did like 2 weeks in all the different departments. So I was like slicing Peking duck for 2 weeks, Gary Don
So housekeeping
style.
as well?
No, just F&B.
No? Oh, just F&B.
F&B.
Okay.
So anything to do with F&B. So Shang Palace I worked in, Hoi An, the Vietnamese restaurant. Shangri-La has their signature restaurants. So I worked in the Shang Palace. I remember eating XO sauce with cashew nuts with rice in the corner of the kitchen for my breaks. I also did the Bordeaux restaurant, Bordeaux, French, fine dining. Where else did I work? In-room dining, which was really fun for me because I felt like I was in McDonald's. And where else? Club. Where did I work? Anyway, all the F&B.
So you did all of that.
Yeah.
Finished that. Then where was the next internships? And how many did you do in total?
So in uni, I did 2 years in the Philippines and finished in Switzerland. And what I saw was first of all, I have a Filipino passport. So getting to an internship or job that is outside of Asia is quite difficult, especially in the UK or Europe, where I was studying in Switzerland. So there were all these companies coming to visit our campus in Les Roches, and I couldn't get any jobs because obviously they need to prioritize those that work in or have residency in the EU. So the only options I got for my for my second internship was either Louis Vuitton in Paris or Peñalonga Ritz-Carlton. And that was the time of the financial crisis. So I actually chose Paris because, pigs countries, etc. My dad said, don't go to Portugal. So Paris was where I ended up. I worked in Galeries Lafayette for Louis Vuitton because I wanted to steer my way out of F&B. I knew that I preferred talking to people, being front of house. So I wanted to work my way out. F&B was very easy to get as an internship for Asian students. I don't know why. Maybe because, I don't know, maybe they don't think we can speak English that well, or be customer facing. And so second internship, I was so happy I made it to a sales internship in Louis Vuitton. I only studied French in school, in secondary school. I did Alliance Française courses. But, working in a French city.
Well,
was
the French city,
Yeah.
number one.
Yes,
Number
I was
two,
18.
Louis Vuitton. I mean, it's a lot of pressure.
It
Did you
was-
think about it at the time?
No, I was just excited. I was just like 18, woohoo! And I get these ticket restaurant, like little free vouchers for a free meal, or you can turn it into groceries. So I was just like living it, I think that's the best gift my parents gave me is they let me go. They let me go out of Abu Dhabi, be on my own. I remember trying to pay my electricity bills with coins because I was like, oh my gosh. You have to figure out how to live life. Sometimes kids here, like, they just don't know how it is to cook and clean and live independently. So,
But after all of your internships, so when did you decide to sort of really come back to Abu Dhabi?
I decided to come back to Abu Dhabi after my first official job. So after Louis Vuitton, I went to Ritz-Carlton St. Thomas for a rooms internship because I ended up specializing in events in Les Roches in my university. So I made my own events how do I say, journey, if you may, for my work experience. So I did the F&B, the sales, and the rooms, because that's what events is. You need to have all three to be an events manager. And so for my first job, I ended up with Aman Resorts in Turks and Caicos. So can you remind me the question again?
So, because I want to understand, after all of your internships.
Oh, why I came back.
Yeah.
Right. Well, did you always have like really good job experiences in your life?
No.
No?
No.
So, yeah, I have to admit that my first ever job after my 3 internships was not the best ending that I would have hoped. I'm grateful to have finished by the skin of my teeth. It was well, first of all, it's an island. And so whenever I go to a resort in an island, I just, I have extra patience for those working there because it's a hard life. Most of them get 1 day off. We had 1 bar. So chances are you would run into a guest there. Anyways, it wasn't the experience I hoped for as my first ever job. That being said, I had an incredible accolade of celebrity guests that I served, like Daniel Craig. Who else did I really love serving? Alicia Keys. LeBron, James, doing their itineraries. And, I'm really proud of what I did. However, yeah, I needed a break.
And how long did you stay there for?
2 years.
So 2 years, and you were like, okay, enough is enough?
I needed a break.
Okay.
I just, the whole time I would call my parents and say, it's really tough for me here. And I could tell my dad and my mom are also having a hard time with our family business at home. But I wanted to finish my first job contract. I didn't want to come home and say, I quit. I'm not a quitter. I didn't want to be a quitter. So I said, I'm going to finish this job. I'm going to make it my project. And so I ended up being head of retail at Amanyara Resort, and I was assistant guest relations manager there, so heading the guest experience there. And so I was proud of finishing, but I told my dad, look, I'll come home and I'll help you for 6 months, because I could feel that he needed help. Anytime I would call him, I could feel that things were not as
rosy.
As rosy. So when I got home, I slept for 2 days. That's what I remember. And then I went to see my dad. And it was so funny. His office was like in some dodgy area in the mall. Like, I think we were behind a bathroom or something, the location. And he was just like on this desk with papers everywhere. And then he gave me a little spot in the corner. And I started to think or try to figure out what was what. I was like, what has been going on while I was away? And so, like I said, the fish market cafeteria wasn't working. The fish stall had to close because they were taking too much margin. And fish is fish. Seafood is a high wastage product. If you don't know how to sell it, like it's a dud. Okay. And the third thing, the meat shop, the guy that was working there was, not very good. So I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And my mom was shouldering the cost of everything because she was the breadwinner, working in a bank, really high position, but really high stress because she comes home to my dad trying to, make a living. So anyways, that's when I came home, and then I started working. And first of all, after some time, I told my parents, I think we should close the commissary and close the fish stall already closed. So it was just the La Comida commissary. I told them that, look, I think we need to focus on the meat because meat is much simpler than a whole commissary operation. And that was really tough. I think that was the same time. Well, it was after the financial crisis, but sales was not, people weren't here in the summer and the sales just weren't coming in. And I remember having to sell all the equipment, and we came home and we couldn't even walk. So I moved back in with my parents, and I came home and we couldn't walk because there was just equipment everywhere that we had brought home. Filing cabinets. It was hard to close a business.
No,
A huge
absolutely.
business, yeah.
But still, it was the right decision to do at the time, because long term,
Yes.
La Carne survived everything.
La Carne survived. Someone gave us a loan and we paid it off. And that was a huge help for my parents. And we thank God every day for that we made it, And
But also how amazing. I mean, what was quite interesting is that, you also pushed it towards e-commerce,
Yes.
right? So that helped the business. And then as difficult as 2020 was, it was almost like a catapult
Yes.
to allow that business to really flourish,
Yes.
right? But the reason why we're here today, Joanne, is because I want to talk about your book. Because now, in 2024, the business, La Carne, is now, above 10 years old, which is incredible and not an easy thing to do, in a place like Abu Dhabi. I mean, now Abu Dhabi is thriving with beautiful restaurants and concepts
Disney.
Disney, and I'm looking forward to meeting
Team Lab.
Minnie Mouse. So,
Yeah.
but I want to understand also, first of all, during the time that you were sort of pushing the e-commerce and sending all of these emails to different customers, when did you first have the notion to write a book in the first place?
So, have you ever had an idea like planted in your brain by someone and then it just grows? Ever happened to you?
All the time.
So my mom did that. We were driving one day and she said, your newsletter is so good. Like, you should put it all together in one place. And I said, Mom, that would be an incredible project. And it would take me years, or it would just be so difficult. Like, why would you even say that? And I just, said that she was mad and
Like
and
we all
brushed
do
it off.
to all our parents.
So that's insane. And it came to me more concretely recently because I met my now husband, and we were coming to 10 years of being a butchery. Can't believe it, premium butchery, and I wanted to kind of put all my knowledge into one place, and kind of also my dad wanted me to clone myself, so I put myself on the cover. So he has 2,000 of me around the world, and it just kind of evolved into this contemporary guide for people who want to know more about beef and lamb. Because here in the UAE, we don't have a premium cattle industry. We don't have Angus cattle roaming around in the desert.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm sure it would happen one day. Probably aquaponic lawn where they could graze. It's not out of the out of the picture. I don't think so. Anyways, I wanted to put all the questions that our customers have had over 10 years and all the information that I had amassed to sell beef and lamb in one place, so that people didn't have to do what I had to do, which is go through tons of blogs, books, social media. I mean, social media has only really exploded on meat recently, but back then, from 2014 to now, the knowledge that we have experienced in the premium meat industry is different. And now it's all about being a modern retailer, right? You need to be online and physical, and it's quite unique for La Carne because we have both shops, and we're really proud of that. But we still preserve the butcher connection. You can, talk to us about a cut that you want to explore. We can cut it in front of you. We take time with you. You can tell us if you didn't like something and we'll fix it. There's that connection that people have forgotten when the hypermarkets came in. Because back then, after we were hunter-gatherers, there were small butchers, greengrocers back then.
Artisans.
And then, high transaction time, right? 30 minutes a person. But then, the industrialization came and supermarkets just came out of nowhere. And then the butchers were buried behind. They were just like slicing. And
it was a real shame, actually.
Yeah.
Because these guys are artists.
They're artists, and Dario Caccini and all these wonderful people. I mean, they still exist actually in smaller towns.
Areas, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I could show this to a butcher in I don't know, some beautiful area in Italy, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I mean, we have amazing meat and we know how to cook it," and because they have that connection with their butchers. So I wanted to kind of bring that into the urban space.
But then we have a lot of chefs, young restaurateurs, maybe some older restaurateurs. What is the process? So after your mom said you should put this in a book and you were like, ding, 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 ding. What's the process to then getting the book published?
Oh.
Because that is what people really want to understand.
Okay. So my mom told me that, and then I decided, okay, maybe I will write the book, right? So I started with some paper, as all good ideas start with, and I literally cut them into little squares, and I just wrote down and kind of mind mapped all the chapters or topics that I always have wanted to talk about.
Right.
And then I put them on the floor and I just ordered them, like marbling. Like I wanted to explain the 3 different countries that, marbling is really known in. So US, Australia, Japan, and then myoglobin, or why can people eat steak less than well done? The whole myoglobin issue topic, and then butchery, right? Because people are like confused about what else exists outside primary cuts, ribeye, strip loin, tenderloin. Because in La Carne, that was the issue that salesmen, right? They would get so excited when I'm in the shop. They're like, oh, look, I have all these meat. But they would always struggle to move their stock because only the primary cuts are what was known in Abu Dhabi back then. And so when I started bringing in picanha, skirt steak, we finish all the skirt steak. I think of our suppliers. What else do we love? The short ribs, but like the different ways to cut short ribs. I think there's like more than 9, right? And all that, lean to fat ratio for burgers, how to make your own burger. What else? All these topics, I put them all in like little index cards that I made, and then started to write. But then my dad mentioned that we need to actually go hear it from the horse's mouth, right? Like we can't just say that we sell Australian meat and I'm going to write a book about it and Bob's your uncle. No, we have to go and see the cattle in person and these producers that we love so much. So we arranged our own trip in Australia and New Zealand back in 2023. And we did it. We went to Sydney and we went to Meat and Livestock Australia, their office in Sydney. And then we had a wonderful welcome there, met all the people there. It was a great starting point because it gave us the whole outlook on the industry in Australia. It's crazy. The procedures, the processes that they've put in place. And so after that, we drove north and stopped by Breeza in New South Wales, which is where the backgrounding facility of Jacks Creek is. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Jacks Creek, but they have won year on year world's best steak in the world's best steak challenge worldwide. And then, so we saw their backgrounding facility, which is where the cattle graze first before going into feedlots to finish their feeding programs. And then we went to Rangers Valley, which I'm such a huge fan of. Rangers Valley, the best, with Black Onyx for the Black Angus. And, you know, we saw their regenerative farming operation, how they're building huts so that all the cattle can be covered, and amazing setup that they have. And, you know, hearing the story from them that, you know, the Japanese came to help them get the Wagyu. So, you know, Rangers Valley is Japanese-owned Marubeni family. And that's how most Wagyu has been commercialized by Japanese working with Australian producers to make more supply for the whole world. And so, yeah, Rangers Valley. And then we went to John D. Have you heard of John D?
Mm-mm.
So John D, if you look at your vacuum sealed packs of meat, next time you see one, there's a number circled, and that is the abattoir number.
Right, okay.
And I think 264 is John D. I might be wrong. And don't call me on that. But that means that the meat has been sent to that abattoir for processing. And most of the top producers will use the same abattoir, and that's John D.
Right, okay.
So it was amazing because we saw how they're slaughtered, the cattle. Because it's important to see. You can't be a butcher and you can't love meat and not know where it came from, right? That's why hunting is so important, like the art of it, because people need to know that your meat doesn't appear in a skin pack. It doesn't float. It doesn't fall from the sky in a skin pack. You know, it grew somewhere and it was slaughtered, and you need to know the procedure. So we went, and I remember the guy, I forgot his name, but he held my hand, the guy who was touring us in the abattoir. I was like, are you ready? Are you ready? I'm like, yeah. We went into the abattoir, and you could see there.
Were you ready for seeing what was about to happen?
I don't think I was. But, oh my gosh, when you went in, you could see the ox tongues like pulsating on the line. And then it's a crazy operation with people with knives, and then, like, you know, but the most important thing that I remember is it didn't smell like anything. It smelled clean. It was peaceful. It was, you know, very humane, because there's a lot of work that has gone into the cattle industry, how to keep meat, how to have tender meat, right? Because there's that cutter and canner meat that like is stressed when it's like purple. So how to avoid that? So it's making like a maze for them to go in, the cattle to walk through, so that they're not stressed and they're always cut by knife. So what was interesting was, because people always ask, is your meat halal? When I was running the business. And I actually found out that there's no separate line or operation for a halal beef and lamb. It's all slaughtered the same.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if you're a abattoir, why would you create two lines and just do it all the same way, right? And halal is a wonderful way to slaughter. It's humane, and you have tender, like good result, and you know, they actually, in some abattoirs, they had independent personnel from the government to watch or see how everything's doing. So, you know, seeing all that in person was so important, because it's not just about the end product, like eating steak. You have to know like where it came from, the procedures, and then I put that all in the book. Yeah.
So after your trip, you came back.
Yes.
Right. And did you start a manuscript, or did you go to a company straight away to pitch?
So I had to write the manuscript first, because, well, I was thinking I could just go to any publisher, but then what meat would I have? Pun intended. To get
Very good. Very good.
For them to look at, right? And also I thought, why not write most of it? It would just save me a lot of time, because, you know, writer's block and all that. It's good to already have a good working.
So
a
you
good
had
point.
you had the bones,
I had the bones,
right?
and then
Of everything.
and then I looked at some of the books I had that I loved, and then because there are so many publishers in the world. There's children's book publishers, there's fiction, there's nonfiction, there's documentary publishers. So there's publishers for every type of book, and so I had to reach out to those that have already written cookbooks or like to publish cookbooks.
So it was a food publishing house, let's say.
Yes, because
who you had to approach.
Well, I was finding out that would be the best, trajectory.
Right.
So there was this book, Hardcore Carnivore by Jess Prowls. I'm a huge fan of Jess Prowls. Have you heard of her?
Mm-mm.
So she's the founder of Hardcore Carnivore. She's an Australian, but she moved to Texas. And she does a lot of meat videos on Instagram. Anyways, her publisher is called Agate Publishing in Chicago. And then I reached out to them, and they actually liked my pitch. And the guy said, "Hey, I like your idea, but can you write me a proposal?" And I said, "Okay, how do I write that?" And he sent me 2 books I needed to get to write the proposal. And you know what? It ended up being longer than my actual manuscript, the proposal. But it was the best activity I did, because the questions it asked was, what makes you an authority to write the book? What other works are in are existing right now about your book, and how will yours differ? And other things like price and of course, who is your target market?
But these are very important questions, because had you not known these things, or anybody, then how are you going to target your specific audience? And also, why are you so different compared to everybody else, right?
Exactly. So that was the best thing that, thank you very much, Agate, for for guiding me in that way. We didn't end up going with Agate, but I had, a wonderful proposal to now send to other publishing houses.
So how many publishing houses did you send to?
I think like more than 20
Right.
or 30. I mean, I don't have a huge following, right?
No,
I'm a
but
marketer,
it's
right?
interesting to understand,
Yeah.
because it's not about the following. In my opinion, Joanne, it's quite a brave thing to do, right? Because you're essentially, as you said, high-end butchery. You're not a chef on TV or YouTube and doing all of that kind of stuff. So to write this almost encyclopedia, if you like a working encyclopedia of meat, to then send it to publishers, 30, let's say, and knowing in your mind that you're definitely going to get rejected and you're going to get asked some very difficult questions, so it's quite brave. But what was the main feedback from those publishers in the beginning? I mean, I'm talking about the ones with food specifically.
Yes. The most notable one that I got a rejection from was Stanley Tucci's wife.
What did that lovely lady say?
She said, "Oh, sorry, your project is, and basically we're not interested in your project." But, I actually...
It's normal, no?
Yeah, it's
to get
normal.
that type of reaction, I think.
But like the whole practice of it, pitching, was great, and I just wanted to keep practicing and see, what if someone bites? But the how do I say, the turning point was when I was on Instagram and I was following a food photographer, and I saw that she had a book, and then she tagged the publisher that she used.
Right.
Called Meze Publishing, and I clicked on their Instagram. Anyway, long story short, they're a boutique cookbook publisher that has an option for self-funding. Because I'm not, as I said, I don't have a huge following, so why would any publisher want to publish my book if no one's really gonna buy it, right? Like, I don't have a ready cohort of 1 million followers ready to buy. It's also mainly for my family, right? Because at the end, it's a memoir.
Well, it's a legacy project, isn't it?
It's a legacy
Right.
project. So and another question that, the publisher after I went with them, one question they had was, what is your aim with this book? Do you want to be the next New York Times bestseller? What is it? I said, I just want to put my knowledge into the world. I just want to put it all in one place and inspire others to cook. That's why it's me on the cover, because I looked at all the covers of, as part of my proposal, I looked at all the covers of steak books, and they're all like a picture of meat or a raw meat.
Some flames.
Some flames.
Or a knife.
It's very man, like male, black, like. So I wanted to show that a woman can cook, and she's enjoying it. It's easy, and it's a grill, because charcoal grills are intimidating to some people. So that's why I put that on there. But I digress. Where was I again?
But you're talking about pitching to Meze. So Meze,
Yes.
they said, yeah, okay, we like the idea. And then there's the option of self-publishing.
Yes, so self-publishing is, some would say the easy way out, but they're still choosing to publish my book, right? And actually, funny enough, I already had one of their books, because I was in the Cotswolds one time in a pub, one of those, how do you call those? Gastro pubs now. And they had a book on sale, which was published by them, and it was a Cotswolds pub book. Really
Nice.
lovely,
Okay.
lovely written. Is lovely a word? Anyways, and so I already had one of their books, and I really liked the way that they'd written it. So the whole idea is that they already have a team doing editorial work, the layout, the sales distribution, and all the things you need to write a good book, and you just pay a price per copy. And I thought, why not? That's way better. And because I wanted to make a good book, I wanted to write a wonderful hardcover book, not soft bound. I wanted it to be something my family and my country could be proud of. And, a Filipino-owned business in UAE, like, we should be proud of it, right?
No, but look, of course, right?
Yeah.
but I'm sticking to the book part, because this is
Okay.
this is really interesting.
Yeah.
So when you go to the publishers, and then the deal is done, and then you're going to say, okay, so we're going to do self-publishing.
Yes.
What's the minimum order quantity
Okay.
that you have to, promise within the contract?
So you can order however many you want.
So it's up to you. So you can say off the bat 500, 1,000, 2,000 and pay for that?
Yes.
Right.
I think there was probably a minimum order. I'm not too sure, but we ended up with 2,000 just to start with.
And then so they're being sold in the store, online,
everywhere.
And
So
Meze also sells it as well, I'm sure.
yes.
Right.
So that was one of the best things that they did, is that you can find it everywhere in the world now. I don't have to, knock on people's doors.
Right.
So we split the stock or the inventory, and we have some in Cebu, where our second branch is, and we have some in Abu Dhabi, and the rest are in their distribution in the UK. So you can actually get it like within a day
Everywhere.
in the UK.
Perfect.
And then they found it in Kinukunya, which is my dream bookstore
Nice.
in Singapore.
Wow. Okay.
My cousin found it. So
How super cool is that?
yeah, and that was one of the questions they had on our onboarding call, like, what is your dream bookstore? And I said, Kinukunya.
Yeah.
Love it. And it happened. So, it's funny what happens when someone plants an idea and you think about it and you actually act on it.
So in which year did your mum plant the seed?
Oh, I think probably like after COVID.
Okay. But now if we're talking, now it's 2025, so it's you smashed it out. I mean, still 5 years, but still, I understand it takes a lot of work, but you already had the background to go into it.
Yes.
But the cool thing is, so I'm obviously chef and, collected books since, I was a little kid all the time. And what I really like about the book, so first of all, you've got that really lovely cover of you, happy, smiling, smashing out the steaks. But I love the name, Steak Simplified, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But then once you get into the whole thing, what I personally really like is that there's a lot of as you know, simple pieces, but actually there's a lot of amazing education
Yes.
on so many things for people who wouldn't necessarily know about marbling, cooking. Of course, you've got those beautiful recipes throughout, which is really fantastic. But I really love, and also you're going into lamb cuts, you know, you're talking about beef, and also for me, the most important are those secondary cuts.
Yes.
Because for me, those are the ones that we should be singing about actually at all times.
Of course.
You know, but it's, I have to say congratulations, because it is a really wonderful book, and
Thank you so much.
loads of super cool things
Yeah.
in it. And you know, I understand it's not an easy thing to do, but I also want to talk about the launch of the book,
Okay.
specifically here in Abu Dhabi.
All right.
When you did that, how did you plan about doing this? Because, you know, you must know so many people, but also I imagine, and I don't know because I've never done it,
Okay.
you know, having certain specific people to talk about the book is also key. Not just
Yes.
chefs, but also in media, so on and so forth. How did you plan about doing that?
So when I got married last February.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then I got pregnant.
Congratulations.
So when I was when that happened, I had already written the manuscript, or the first draft. I was working on it, and the book was coming.
Right, okay.
And then another baby was coming.
Right.
So
Double whammy.
So October was the book launch, and then our son Archie came in December.
Whoa.
So I was 30. Well, yeah, I was really close to, I was in my third trimester when I had to launch the book. But you know, I was wondering how I would launch it, and I knew that I wanted to do something like a reading. Definitely, you know, me reading my favorite chapter. My favorite chapter is the beginning, entering steak heaven, basically. Once you eat a good steak, you don't go back. And so I did that. I found a venue that was supportive. So, you know, I think, especially over my time in La Carne, I added a diploma in professional marketing. And then I also work with small women-led businesses. And with our women entrepreneurs group, WEEDS we call it, they had one of their events in this location called The Bridge in Alcana. Have you been or familiar of Alcana?
I know Alcana very well.
So the National Aquarium is there in Abu Dhabi, and it's a 3-level hub, they call it the Bridge Hub. And we did an event there, and someone, the events manager, Exalt, her name is Exalt, can you imagine? What a name. She just said, I would love to help you with your launch. And I said, oh, okay, let's do it here. And, you know, when you find people like that want to support you, it's just so amazing. And so I worked with their chef on a menu. So I did a tomahawk for the launch. I cooked it, you know, with a huge bump, and my lamb tostadas. And I also sourced the tostadas from a local Mexican business from Cristal. So, you know, I love working with women, and when we support each other, it's incredible. So that's why I found that venue. And then the second event I did was with Chef Troy. So Chef Troy, not sure if you're aware, he's married to a Filipina. And so, you know, you'll find ingredients and flavors in his menus that are Filipino. I've actually stalked him from his pangolin days in Dubai.
All right, okay.
When he used to have a garden in the back and post he's digging a hole in the back. So I thought he was super cool, like Steve Irwin culinary version.
He is super cool. We love Troy.
And I had never met him, by the way. So I went and sat for lunch with a friend, and I saw him finally walking because he came to Abu Dhabi. He moved there, which I was so happy about because Abu Dhabi deserves people like Chef Troy. And And so I spoke to him and he said, I would love to help you with your book launch. And so we did a tasting menu with recipes from the book, with a, beverage pairing. And I was very heavily pregnant. And, we had wonderful people like Raja Martin came, the head of Weeds, Gina. All these people that have just supported me over the years just came together. And by no means was it a huge event, but it was just like a celebration of me doing what I said I would do, a book launch. And I also did a cooking class for Silver Fern Farms in the bridge as well. That was really fun. So I broke down a whole tenderloin because I'm all about education, right? Like, there's lots of meat or meat delivery businesses that are popping up way bigger with way more capital than our small business. But how we always discussed we would differ is with education. It's all about more information, and that's why we differentiate from our competitors or industry players. I wouldn't really consider other businesses competitors because they don't do what we do. None of them do physical and online and do the education and have that relationship with their butchers face to face. And no one's only one branch.
No, but it's also super important, right? As you said, there's lots of other butcheries out there that are big. I'm not going to name them, but they don't give the value or the customer service that everybody deserves or requires, which is why after 10 years, you're still successful, still doing an incredible job.
Yes.
And it's not easy, but, very well done.
Thank you.
Because everybody wants to know and also, if you think about it from a very basic perspective, the single most common question I get asked on an almost daily basis is, how do you cook a steak? How do you tell if it's medium well? How do you tell if it's rare? Without the thermometer, So all of these things. How do you cook flank? How do you cook shin? What do you do with tongue?
Slicing against the grain.
Slicing against the grain. So my personal favorite steak is flank.
Oh.
So again,
yeah.
If you're doing that type of steak, you have to know about the grain, right?
Yes.
Because if you do it with the grain, then it just kills everything. Right?
Chef Troy and I have this game where we send photos of meat that was sliced wrong. Oh my God, where was that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was this place.
Name a shame.
But simple things like that, people don't know, and then they complain that
But you say it's simple,
yes.
but then you wouldn't necessarily know if you're not a foodie.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, and that's what, that educational part, and that's why it's important to have a book like this, where you literally mention those simple key steps.
Yes.
In order to make sure that everybody enjoys their meat correctly.
Exactly, because also not all meat cuts have a grain. Like, some people be looking for it. Like in ribeyes, tenderloin, strip loin, they're too fine. So it doesn't really matter how you slice it. But when you do see a grain, then you would really slice against it. So one of the things that makes my book also extra unique is the video part. So the recipes or some of the tips have a QR code on them that link to a video of me doing the recipe or the tip. So across the grain, how do you do it? So I have a video of me slicing a skirt steak. Because also, like, skirt steak is quite long. So sometimes, like, cutting against the grain, like, is kind of, like, difficult, right? If it's a really long piece. So I show them, like, cut it in the middle and then, just making it easy for people to cook at home, because that's why we survived, because that's how we made a business, telling people how to cook more at home. And burgers.
When's the next book coming along?
The next book, that's what. Yeah, I did an interview with my alma mater, and they asked me the same. I said, guys, I just wrote it. Give me some time. I just want to have a garden for a while.
Right. Bit of a chill.
Focus on my son. Babies' brains grow until they're 5, or most of them. So I just want to be a mom. And
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because it goes fast.
Yeah, and 8 years. So I worked with our family business for 8 years. That's a long time. And so I'm really excited to just chill for a while. So I'm moving to the Cotswolds next Sunday.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You will love it there. It's nice.
Yes, everyone keeps telling me about the rain, which I'm excited.
You get used
about.
to it. You'll get used to it. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Joanne, we've now come to the quick fire questions of the show. Now, you're not allowed to say beef or lamb for this next question. And I ask everyone, doesn't matter if you're a CEO, chef, restaurateur, whatever, I will ask you. What's your favorite ingredient?
Garlic.
Very good. I like it. Okay, ready? Next one for you. Chicken shawarma or chicken adobo?
Chicken shawarma.
Oh,
Sorry.
Controversial. Ribeye or flank?
Ribeye.
All right, this one's specially for you, this next one.
Okay.
Arroz a la cubana, Filipino style, or Sunday roast beef?
Arroz a la cubana.
Okay, I'm sure your husband's listening to this, so it's fine. Now, as of this moment right now,
Yes.
can you tell me your top 3 cuisines
Ooh.
that you love to
Okay.
eat, but in this very moment?
In this very moment, Vietnamese.
Good one.
Yeah. Italian.
Yep.
My childhood is rooted in Italian. Don't know why. I had a ragu obsession as a kid. And the last one that I love eating right now, Mexican. I would love to go to Mexico.
Mexican, good one.
Yeah.
Such an amazing heritage Mexican food as well. So then, who would you say are your top 3 food heroes?
Ooh.
But
Okay.
they don't necessarily need to be chefs.
My grandma. Telma
Number 1.
Badeles. Yeah, because although she didn't live as long as I wanted, she is rooted in everything my dad, and I do. Second, Nigella. Because that's why I'm here, because I'm a cook, not a chef. She always says I'm a cook, not a chef. And the third would be food heroes, Rick Stein.
Oh, Rick Stein.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yes. Love him.
So then, from all of your experience within hospitality, butchery, dealing with guests, what would you say has been your funniest ever, either kitchen incident or restaurant incident or butchery incident that you've seen or been involved in?
I only can tell you one?
Go ahead.
So Alain Ducasse came to our school, and we have an option to serve in school events. Some of them are industry events. And I said, okay, I'm going to serve in Alain Ducasse's, gala dinner. So it was an avalanche style dinner. You pick up the plate and you all have to go and serve the table all at one time.
Right.
Each table all at one time. And so there was this guy who is like a bit nervous. He said, you go first. You stand by the door. So I said, okay, fine. So they go, table 7. I'm like, okay, table 7. And I knew that we were like probably the last to serve. We were serving the last table that didn't receive their food. So I went and I looked for the table that didn't have food, served it, and it was the wrong table. Alain Ducasse's gala dinner. I got kicked out.
No.
Yeah, they said, go home. I said, you suck.
Wow.
So yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
Lesson learnt. Wasn't table 7.
No, lesson learned that I don't belong in service.
Right.
Yeah. I belong in marketing and talking.
Fair enough. Now, what advice would you give to any chef authors out there who are looking to get into the publishing game and really publish their amazing books?
I would say write down the things you always tell people or people always ask you. because that's what books are. It's knowledge that needs to be shared with the world. So if people are constantly going to you for answers, maybe it's worth writing about, right?
Love it. Now, if you go back in time, Joanne,
Okay.
what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self?
Oh, wow. 16-year-old self. What was I doing at 16? Oh, I just started uni. I would say don't be afraid of being yourself. It's okay. You got this.
Now, Joan, if people wanted to get hold of you through social media, how can they do that?
They can follow at Steak Simplified, or it's Joan Rumsey if they want to see me, plant a garden next week. And our website, steaksimplified.com, and also the Carne. Please support our family enterprise.
And if they wanted to buy the book, most importantly, how can they do that?
Yes, very important. Thank you, Chef James. They can go on any Amazon worldwide. However, they can also find it in major bookstores, Waterstones, Kinokuniya, some local cafes in Abu Dhabi. The Bridge and Art Market have them, and in La Carne in Cebu as well.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Now, Joan, on behalf of the Chef JKP podcast, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to be here just before your big move to the UK.
Thank you.
Number two, I have to say, I read a lot of books, and because of my job and what I do, education-wise, and also want to have knowledge, I really take in a lot of knowledge from everywhere. And I have to say, the book really pleasantly surprised me because there were so many beautiful stories, and I really love the educational piece that you're really marking things down beautifully for anybody who, whether they're a professional or an amateur. It's a really wonderful book to keep going back to. So some books you pick up and you leave forever.
Yeah.
But this is the sort of book that I will always keep flicking, keep checking, because there's so many amazing tips and hints, and also that beautiful part where you can just click the QR code, and if you're not sure, you can just sort of see you in action. So a massive well done for doing this, because it's not an easy thing to achieve. So really, and at the same time, I'm looking forward to reading book number 2 in the future. But from me and from everyone here at the Chef JKP podcast, thank you ever so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast. Thank you so much.
Joanne, thank you so much for sharing your passion, your insight, and your wisdom with us today. What a meaningful conversation that was. And if you want to see more of what she's doing, make sure to head to the show notes, as you will find all of the details. Plus, I will put all of the links to where you can find her beautiful book, as it should be, in your incredible library, gang. So all I have to say is, to everyone listening, if you like this episode, or it made you stop and think, which is exactly what great conversations do, and if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe to the podcast. And perhaps you know someone who just needs to hear this, or maybe they find it interesting or informative, then do share the show, as we want to reach as many people as far and wide as possible, because it's not only important to me, it's important to the entire industry globally. The other way you can support the show is by picking up our fantastic thermos bottles, which, by the way, can keep your drinks hot or cold. Maybe you can put some soup in there if you want. Whatever you like. I'll put that also in the show notes. So I'll share all of the links there, and send it to your team, your brigades, wherever. Your mum and dad. They're going to love it. So, well done for staying on to the end. Chef JKP signing out. Until next time, food is memories.